WIFO FM Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, 105.5 FM. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO, and it's brought to you by Van's Barbecue, also brought to you by First Southern Bank, Murphy Builder Supply, O'Quinn & Associates, and Connection Coffee and Creamery.
When it comes to barbecue, Van's Barbecue in Jesup is the place to be. A small family-owned business located at 1876 on the Savannah Highway. Van's Barbecue has lunch and dinner specials. Stop by or call to make an order. The number to call, 427-3358. Van's Barbecue's new manager is Sarah Van. Van's Barbecue offers potato salad, coleslaw, baked beans, and don't forget their delicious mac and cheese. Also, check out their shrimp plates, the best in town. Yes, when it comes to barbecue, head to Van's Barbecue, locally owned and operated. Stop by and tell them the Big Dog sent you. Once again, the number to order, 427-3358.
Hi, I'm Mandy Yeomans.
And I'm Raymond Brown with First Southern Bank. As your locally owned community bank, we're here to help our community grow. Our customers are why we are here. You can tell we want your business.
We offer all types of deposit products, personal and business. We have fast, efficient service, and yes, we have online banking too. I'm sure we have an account to fit your needs. Stop by or call us at 912-588-1010 and see how First Southern Bank can help you.
We're FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jesup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jesup.
Do you know why most people don't invest outside work or at all? Because they don't know where to start and they don't know who to talk with. If this is you, give me a call. Hi, this is Sean O'Quinn. I can help set up a plan no matter where you are in life to get you on a suitable path to a sound financial future. Give me a call, Sean O'Quinn, at 912-385-1000 or stop by the office at 212 South 1st Street right here in Jesup. That number again is 912-385-1000.
Nothing brings people together quite like a great cup of coffee. At the Connection Coffee and Creamery, you will find a place where conversations begin and friendship never ends. Whether you're looking for a space to connect or a caffeine pick-me-up on your way to work, we've got just what you're looking for. From delicious handcrafted beverages to rich creamy ice cream or a filling breakfast and lunch items, we've got you covered. Short on time? Order through our Joe app or give us a call and we will have your items ready for pickup in our drive-thru. We are open Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 5, and Saturdays, 8 to 2. We are located at 254 West Cherry Street. We look forward to connecting with you.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
Butch and Bob Show. World famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. Bob, we got a special guest on the phone with us. Who do we have, Bob?
On the phone with us is First District Congressman Buddy Carter. Buddy, always good to talk to you. The big question in Washington, D.C., are they going to be able to avoid the government shutdown?
Well, that is the big question. You're right. And at this point, Bob, it's difficult to say. But let me do say this. I hope we don't have a shutdown, and we really don't want to shut down. We should be shutting down the border and not shutting down the government. And what we're proposing is just a CR, but it's not a CR, a typical CR. It's a CR that has never been done before because it is a continuing resolution with cuts. And that's the big difference. We've never had anything like that before. It's not truly a continuing resolution because a continuing resolution just continues just like you are. What we're proposing is for 30 days for us to implement these cuts during that 30 days while we still work out a budget for the next year, for the next fiscal year. And, you know, we're having a little bit of trouble right now. There are people who don't believe in CRs. They are just supposedly, we have 7 people in our conference, and keep in mind we only have a majority of 5. 1 seat is vacant right now. Chris Stewart from Utah has resigned. His wife is in poor health, and he's resigned, and he needs to be with her. And And that seat is open and won't be filled for a while. We've got Steve Scalise, who is out, as we all know, and our thoughts and prayers are certainly with him. And then we've got a couple of other people who are out. So essentially right now we've got a majority of one person. That doesn't leave a whole lot of room there for error. And we've got some holdouts, some people who just don't believe in a CR. They just, it's just part of their portfolio. I just don't believe in a CR. Well, that's fine, but we got to do something, otherwise the government's going to shut down. And we would like to pass all 12 appropriation bills, but unfortunately, this week we had the defense appropriations bill up, and it failed twice, not once, twice. And that's one area where we're not proposing any cuts, but we're proposing cuts to the other areas, and significant cuts of like 26%, Bob. That's pretty significant in some of these departments.
Well, everybody's used to the Republicans criticizing Democrats and Democrats criticizing Republicans, but right now, with this on the verge of possible shutdown, I've seen a lot of Republicans criticizing McCarthy. So where do you stand with McCarthy? He looks like he's losing a lot of support from his own party.
Well, you talk about a position you don't want to be in right now. I don't think I'd like to be Speaker right now. It's a tough job. But Kevin's up to it. I'm still supporting Kevin, and I always have, and I'm going to continue to support him. People have called for other people, maybe for someone else to step in and for a motion to vacate the chair. And Bob, you're a football fan, It's kind of like when you put your backup quarterback in, you all of a sudden realize why your starter's your starter in a lot of cases. And, Kevin's got a tough job. I mean, it's like herding cats. And we've got a very diverse conference, a lot of different opinions. We've got those who are on the far right. We've got those who are more toward the middle. And we've got, a lot of people who are in the middle. So it's difficult, but we've got to get something done. But as I say, none of us want to really shut down the government, although it does bring attention to something that needs to be brought attention to, and that is the fact that we have deficit spending. We continue with deficit spending. We got $33 trillion in debt. $33 trillion in debt. Our debt to GDP is 1.26%, the highest it's been since World War II. We can't sustain this. Everybody understands that. And I agree, something catastrophic needs to happen to get people's attention of how bad the debt is. Shutting down the border, not shutting down the government.
I've got the solution for your debt, buddy. The government needs to start buying tickets to those Mega Million lotteries drawing and win those. They can reinvest.
I know I am.
Let's stick with McCarthy. Zelensky was on in Washington. He's getting criticized for not going to see him. Some Republicans are starting to waver on the support for Ukraine. Where do you stand on that? It's 40-some billion and counting. McCarthy's statement was he just wants to know what the strategy is. Where's the end in sight? So where do you stand on that?
Well, I agree with Kevin. I need to see a plan. I tell people all the time, I'm fine as I'm not interested in blank checks going to Ukraine. I'm interested in stopping Putin from advancing and stopping him from winning this war. I'm interested in making sure that Ukraine is successful. And I also want to make sure that Europe's doing their part, that they are helping the way that they should be helping. Don't want to see any American troops on the ground. I draw the line there. And again, I want to see a plan. And I would submit to you that the reason that we are in this war, that Russia invaded Ukraine, is because of the weakness that was shown by the Biden administration, Joe Biden in particular, and the botched retreat from Afghanistan, and that combined with just the general consensus around the world of his weakness and the weakness of the U.S. as a result of that. And what we need to be doing is to send lethal weapons, more lethal weapons to Ukraine, and let's end this war. Let's end it. Get it over with.
If you're just joining us on the phone with us, is Congressman Buddy Carter. A lot going on in Washington, D.C. Anything locally going on that we need to know about?
Well, of course, we've got a lot of economic development going on down here in our district, particularly up in the northern part of the district with the Hyundai plant. That continues to go up. The Hyundai officials were in Washington this week. In fact, they were there yesterday, and I suspect they're still there today. Very excited about the project. I met with them yesterday and had a very good meeting. They continue to invest to the tune of $5.5 billion in that plant. It's going to be the largest EV plant in the world when it finishes. And 8,100 jobs, plus another 8,100 jobs in ancillary businesses, the battery plant and everything else that's going to go along with supporting that plant. And $5.5 billion more dollars in investment as well. So it's just a great project for us in the northern part of the district, the southern part of the district, all throughout the district. We continue to see significant growth, economic development in our area, and it's going to spread. Maybe it hasn't gotten to some of the western portion of our district, but it will. And the ports just continue to impress. They're just setting records every month.
You talk about the border. We continue to get these reports from our local law enforcement on drug bust. They had one this week, fentanyl. A lot of that was confiscated. That's a very dangerous drug, and that's one of those drugs that keeps coming over from the border. So when are they going to address that? I mean, every now and then it comes up in the news, but then it just goes away. But how difficult that situation is. So what's the solution for that, and when does Congress step in and say it needs to be addressed?
Well, and that's a good point, and I was somewhat remiss in not mentioning about the CR. I mentioned that the CR is different from other CRs because it includes cuts, and in the past that's not been the case. It's just continue on with what you're doing with no cuts. This one includes cuts. It also includes H.R. 2, which was the Secure the Border Act. So when are we going to address it? We're trying to address it right now. What it would do would to include everything that was in H.R. 2 that we passed out of the House that hasn't passed the Senate yet, but we passed it out of the House. It would be a combination of the CR with cuts as well as H.R. 2, which would secure our border. You are absolutely right, and that's one of the most frustrating things that I think we experience is that everybody thinks that southern border, the only problem is at the border. But that's not true at all. That fentanyl that's coming across that border is infesting communities all across America, including in our district, as you just mentioned. And what we see, we've got to do two things. First of all, you've got to secure that border to stop the flow of those illegal drugs into our country. The second thing you got to do is to address the drugs that are in our country right now. Enough fentanyl in our country right now to kill 1.3 billion people. We've got to address that. So it's a twofold problem. Stop the flow of the drugs through the southwest border and then address the amount of drugs that are in our communities right now. A number of ways to do that, increasing law enforcement, making sure that they have all the tools that they need. You know how I feel about the fentanyl rescue drug, the opioid rescue drug, naloxone. Narcan is the brand name of it. I feel like that should be in every school in America. And I've got I carry it in my backpack. I've got legislation that would require it to be in every school in America. It ought to be in every emergency box that we have. If used quickly enough, it can reverse the effects of fentanyl poisoning, and we need to have it. It's one of the tools that we can use to fight fentanyl.
And just joining us on the phone with us, First Assistant Congressman Buddy Carter. Again, it's a Friday. We'll end on some good notes. You recently recognized down at Jekyll Island with the broadcasters. Tell us how that event went.
Well, I'm obviously very, very honored. I'm one of those news nuts anyway. I mean, first thing I do in the morning is turn the TV on and watch the news. And, I was the kid who was always waiting on the paper to be delivered. And in the morning and in the afternoon, back then when I was growing up, we got 2 editions. So I'm just a news hound. And just to be honored by such an esteemed group, I was very humbled. And what a great event. Jekyll Island has just improved so much. What a the convention center is so nice, and we're just so fortunate to have it in our area.
And you're a diehard dog fan. Georgia got another cupcake Saturday, UAB. But your thoughts on the dogs thus far this season?
Well, maybe the first half of last week was something we needed to get punched in the nose. And we came back in the second half. I was very proud of that. But we need to be tested. We haven't been tested yet. I suspect we're not, although I'm sure Kirby will have them prepared, I suspect we're not going to be that tested today either. Next week, of course, is Auburn. And that's always a dogfight. So, I think they're in a pretty good spot. Whether they're as good as they were last year or the year before, it's hard to say. I know that defense is tough, though, I tell you.
Buddy, always good to have you on the show. Again, enjoy the weekend. And, again, appreciate you being here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. Appreciate you recognizing us and down on Jekyll as well.
Okay, thank y'all.
Look it up.
Congressman Buddy Carter here on Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. Big Dog Country Radio, world famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO. Football Friday, Bob, homecoming. Always an exciting time every single year in high school football.
Yeah, it was a great parade downtown Jesup yesterday. Good crowd on hand and beautiful girls, beautiful automobiles. I don't know where they get these automobiles from. That's just some nice looking cars.
Yeah, the type of cars that stay in garages most of the time and get taken out every so often, huh?
Yeah, some nice looking vehicles. And luckily the rain held off. It looked bad down there when everybody was lined up for the parade, but fortunately the weatherman cooperated and they were able to get the parade in. So homecoming night, we'll have the announcement during the broadcast. And like I said, the Queen and her court will be crowned tonight at JC Stadium. Wish all the ladies the best of luck.
That's right. So get on out there and support them Jackets. Kickoff will be at 7:30. It's going to be a beautiful day, weekend, beautiful night tonight. It's going to be a little cooler. It's going to feel good out there.
Fall's approaching, you can tell.
Yeah.
starting to get dark
tomorrow, but
people keep asking me when daylight. You have any idea when daylight savings time kicks in?
Yeah, it's in I think the first Sunday in
October.
November.
No, November.
November, not October. No, November. I think it's the first Sunday in November.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got still all of October yet with daylight savings time.
It just seems like it's getting darker sooner.
It is. It's getting about 1 to 2 minutes darker every single day. Yesterday was 3 minutes from the day before. Today is 2 minutes darker than yesterday. So yeah, it is. But that's just the natural thing. We lose sunshine 1 to 2, 3 minutes every single day this time of year.
And the Braves continue to set history. Matt Olson on the verge of setting the all-time RBI record, held back with Eddie Matthews.
Man, way back in the 50s.
That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. You said 53 or something like that?
Let's see what year.
Yeah, that was, I think you said 53. I was back the year before I was born. Jeez, that is a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah. What were the Braves? Were they Boston or Milwaukee at that time?
I think they're Milwaukee.
Okay.
1953.
Yeah.
135. Eddie Matthews. Hank Aaron had 132 back in 57. But the record goes all the way back to 53. Matt Olson just 4 behind with 131. So he's got a chance to break that record. He already has the all-time home run record. Hit another one yesterday. So 53 and counting for him. So a local kid from Parkview High School.
Yeah.
Fitting in well in Atlanta.
Yeah. That's
great year.
Yeah, great year. As they're going to be wrapping up the regular season end of next week and then getting ready for the playoffs. And looking forward to that. And what does
Can't wait to see the Ole Miss Alabama game in Alabama. Lane Kiffin chomping at the bit. He'd love nothing more than to beat Nick Saban, but Saban's had his number. He hasn't been able to pull it off. And then the night game, of course, my Fighting Irish Notre Dame going to beat up on Ohio State in South Bend.
They're in South Bend, huh? Okay.
Ohio State's favored, but I got the Irish winning that ball game.
Okay.
Of course, Georgia got another cupcake game against UAB. So
yeah. And,
Georgia Southern Ball State game should be pretty good, though. Like I said, Ball State's played Georgia and Kentucky, so hopefully the Eagles can bounce back from that tough loss at Wisconsin. Talking to a lot of Georgia Southern fans went up there, and I said they thought Southern had that game in hand at one point.
Yeah, first half looked like it was in hand, but then they threw 5 interceptions that second half, and it just kind of fell apart. And then, of course, a lot of eyes are going to be on the Colorado-Oregon game.
I don't think it's going to be much of a game.
You think Oregon's just going to?
I think Oregon's
going to wipe them out.
I just don't see Colorado playing with teams like Oregon, USC. They might, but I don't see.
Yeah, they got Oregon this week and USC next week, so they got two of their biggest tests.
Plus, they got their best players hurt, so he's out for 4 weeks. So.
What position was that?
Running back. That guy played both ways. He played defense and offense. He's playing 100-some snaps. But he took that cheap shot in that Colorado State game, and it was a cheap shot. I mean, that was just uncalled for. Yeah, I mean,
took a cheap shot.
Very cheap.
Wow.
You
hate to see that. I mean, there's enough injuries without cheap shots.
That was a hotly contested game. Those two teams didn't like each other, and there's just a lot, even from the opening. I mean, it was just that game. Fortunately, didn't get out of hand, but that was just, as Paul Feinbaum said, there was a lot of unsportsmanlike conduct on both sides of the aisle in that game. So it just wasn't a very good ball game as far as teaching kids how to play the game of football.
Okay. Well, what else is going this weekend? You got the Falcons going to Detroit to take on the Lions.
Yeah, hopefully they go 3-0.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There was a big win last week against Green Bay at home, so hopefully they can go on the road and get a win at Detroit.
And then the next week, they'll be down in Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. So Falcons Jaguars on October 1st. And the Jaguars will be taking on Houston at home down there at, is it Everbank Field? I can't remember the name of it. But they're playing at home. So Jacksonville at home this weekend taking on Houston. And, of course, that game can be heard on our sister station, Fox Sports Radio 1370 AM The Buzz, WLOP, beginning at 12 noon. And then Falcons can be heard on Sunday right here on 105.5 FM, beginning at 12 noon on Sunday. And let's see here. I got one more Tech. Tech is at Wake Forest. So an ACC match there for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and that game can be heard on our sister station, WLOP 1370 AM, The Buzz, WLOP. And then, of course, the Georgia Southern Eagles on the road taking on Ball State. That'll begin at 12 noon with the pregame with kickoff at 2 o'clock.
Wayne Kenney's Weston Franklin doing a great job on that offensive line for Georgia Tech at center.
Yeah.
If you've watched the games, he's number 72.
72, center for Georgia Tech.
Starting center.
Weston Franklin. Okay. Well, good.
Good to see these hometown kids at the collegiate level. I said you got the Wallace kid at Kentucky. You got Weston Franklin at Georgia Tech. Albert Kelly's son is playing at Auburn. So
okay.
Got several Wayne County kids. So I know he makes that trip every – watching there's Auburn Tigers still unbeaten. Georgia will be at Auburn next week, so big matchup. As Buddy mentioned, that'll be a good test for Georgia.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No doubt about that. And as we talked yesterday, 49ers had no problem with the Giants last night. No problem at all.
San Francisco's got a good football team.
Yeah, they do. A lot of them predicting them going all the way to the Super Bowl, so we'll see.
If I was picking an NFC team right now, that'd be the odds off. That Christian McCaffrey's a fun guy to watch. And Brock Purdy, that's just a great story.
It is. Mr. Irrelevant is starting for the 49ers, man. Jeez.
Came back from injury, doing well.
Yeah, had that injury in that game last year at the end of the season. So, good for him. And just lots of football action going on. Hopefully your favorite team will win, well, as long as it's Georgia or Georgia Southern. Oh, and you had that county council meeting that you went to. They voted for the budget. It was a procedural thing.
It's rubber. They have to approve the school board's millage as well. No matter whether they like it or not. They weren't happy with the school board raising taxes, so they made their feelings known. But like they said, they had 3 public meetings, and no one from the public showed up at those meetings.
No one showed up to say anything about it, you know. So.
They showed up to ask them to reconsider, but to no avail. So, but like they mentioned, it's kind of head shaking when you look at your school board. But $60 million, that's a lot of money. Wasn't that long? 10 years ago, nearly.
I have no idea what the budgets were 10 years ago, but everything goes up. Yeah, everything goes up. No doubt about that. And they're just about to get through with James E. Bacon, aren't they? You think?
Well, find out Tuesday. I said they're supposed to be doing that checklist. So.
Got to wrap it up and get it ready to open up. Ought to be a great asset to the city of Jesup having that.
I'm sure once they get it complete, they'll have a grand opening. So.
Yeah, they'll probably have a big old ribbon cutting grand opening type thing. Okay. What else is going on, Bob? Anything else?
Like I said, the county's meeting again today at 8 o'clock. They got a work session today. So And the school system sent out that statement on the bed bugs, so they're going to go in and try to get rid of those this weekend with the heat.
Yep.
Apparently they don't like heat, so
They're going to blast them out with the heat, huh?
what the word is.
Yeah, bring those dogs in there and sniff them out where they may be and blast them out. Get rid of them.
I said, looking forward to homecoming. I said, a lot of people back in town, so if you're an alumni back in town, welcome back to Wayne County. Should be a fun night. Like I said, forecast looks good, so should be a fun night. Hopefully we can get a win, go to 4-1, and get ready for that big trip next week to Burke.
Yep.
The region schedule starts in New Hampstead after that performance a couple weeks ago. Remember that game, 3-inning game? They called and forfeited the game next week.
Did they?
Yeah. They're not playing anymore. So
they're not playing anymore. Getting blown out like that. They're talking about softball, folks.
I think they closed it down. So, but we got a call, or Colt Brockington got a call this week that game next week on Tuesday's been forfeited.
Okay. So we don't have a home game until the following week, right?
Right. The
With
following
softball.
Monday.
Wayne County girls softball, and the rest of the ones in that next week are out of town, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, Bob, have a great weekend. Go Dogs. Go Eagles. WIFO FM Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, 105.5 FM, and of course, go Wayne County Yellow Jackets. And world famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Van's Barbecue, First Southern Bank, Murphy Builder Supply, O'Quinn and Associates, and Connection Coffee and Creamery.